Okay, so now we are going to learn how to create a quiz using Google Forms. So if you're in your Gmail, you're going to touch on the waffle. I like to call it the waffle. Don't know why it just stuck. So that is the 3, 6, 9 buttons up at the top of the screen on your right. And you're going to scroll down to where it says Google Forms, okay? And you're going to open that up and we are going to create a blank quiz. Now, one of the best things about it is that when you create a blank quiz, then you can go in and make copies of it later, okay? So we're going to create a blank quiz just for the sake of starting from scratch. And the first thing we're going to do is title it, because if not, it'll get lost somewhere and you won't know what it is. So I'm going to make this remote learning quiz 1. And then one of the topics that we're going to do is a dream deferred. So it's going to be titled A Dream Deferred Poetry Quiz. Okay, so now I have a title. I'm going to describe to them what it is that I want them to do. So complete the multiple choice questions after reading and analyzing the poem by Langston Hughes. Okay, so now we have our title, and we have a description of what we're doing. So the first thing is, our first question is always going to be, what is your name? Why? Because if not, you are going to get everybody's information and no one's information because you're not going to know who it is. Now, as you can see, there's a required button over here. So that's the first thing I'm going to click because I need to know what their names are. So, name is here. I'm collecting their name. Now we can go up to settings and you're going to collect all email addresses. Okay, so let's do that again. Let's go back. I'm going to go to settings and I'm going to select settings, and it gives you the option to change things. So first it says collect email addresses, then it says restrict users. So this is my school. Are we restricting users to the school? Yes. Can they edit after they submit? No. All right, so I'm going to have them collect email addresses. Presentation, you can show a progress bar, you can shuffle question order, or you can show link to submit another response. I don't really need them to submit another response, but we can show the progress bar. And then confirmation message. Do I want them to know that they've submitted? Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to put, thank you for completing this remote learning quiz 1. Okay, so they'll be able to see that when they submit their work. And then quizzes over here, we're making this a quiz, so it's already clicked, and it's going to release the grade immediately after each submission or later after manual review. Well, because I'm going to include a short response, I'm going to have to select later after manual review. Now, if it was just multiple choice, then we could keep it immediately after each submission. But I want to review it, and I think I'm going to add a short response question, so I'm going to add it here. All right, so that was where quizzes is. So it's made a quiz, later after manual review. Now let's go back to presentation. It's going to show the progress bar. And general, it's collecting email addresses. This is important because you want to make sure that you have that information just in case this is the first time that your kids are using Google Classroom. All right, and now I'm going to save. So now it's going to be collecting all the email addresses, and I'm actually going to edit this, complete the multiple choice questions, and the short response using the RAD acronym, because that's what we use in our school after reading and analyzing the poem by Langston Hughes. Okay, so now we're going to get into the actual questions. So they're going to put their name here first, and I don't really need an answer key for that because there's no points assigned. Okay, so now how do I add on a question? I'm just going to click the plus sign. So when you right click the actual question, all of this pops up and it gives you the option to change whatever type of question you want to make it. So do you want it to be paragraph form? Do you want it to be multiple choice? Do you want to have check boxes, drop down? Do you want to upload a file? Now, let's just say for the next question, I'm going to actually upload a picture. So I'm going to add a question, okay? And then I'm going to say, you know what? I want to upload a file. I am going to upload a picture. Let's see. What picture do I want to upload? Do I want to browse? I think so. So I'm going to browse and see what comes up. And I have pictures in here, but most importantly, I have a screenshot of the poem. Okay, so I'm going to upload a screenshot of A Dream Deferred. Why? Because maybe I want them to answer something specific to a line. So I'm going to say, what question? Okay, well, first of all, I do have my questions pre-prepared because you should. So I'm going to switch back to my Google Drive up here, and I'm going to go into my answer key. So let's just say this wasn't open. I'm going to close that, and I'm just going to click the plus sign, and it's going to automatically take me back to Google. So I'm going to go into my Google Drive, my waffle. I'm going to go into Google Drive. And now the most recent thing is going to come up, which is my remote learning quiz that I'm currently working on. The next thing is going to be the answer key for A Dream Deferred because I created it ahead of time, which is really important. You should create an answer key if you want to make this quick. All right, so I'm going to open the answer key and then I'm going to have my questions here. Very simple, very to the point. I have 3 questions, 3 pre-prepared answers, and I have the one that is the answer for each one. Okay, so now I can move between my answer key and my remote learning quiz. So I'm actually going to close my drive. So now I'm going to go back to my remote learning quiz. I already have the name of the student, but actually I forgot. I want to add their class because I teach more than one class. I don't know about the rest of you, but I definitely need to add that in. For middle school, you know you have more than one class, middle and high school. So I'm going to add a question. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it required. I'm going to click this button. And then I'm going to say class. And I'm not going to make it multiple choice. I'm going to select the drop down and I'm going to make it a short answer. Okay, so now I have the class, I have the name, and now I can move on to the actual questions. Okay, so these are mandatory, name and class. Now I'm going to make the question based on my answer key. So let me go back to my answer key. I'm going to go up here. Based on the context in which it is used in the poem, what does the word, well, I should say word, hold on, deferred mean? All right, so let's copy this whole question. And I'm just going to go back up here and I'm going to paste it. Now, for those of you who are not familiar, you use Command C. So when I was here, I highlighted, I select Command C on my computer and that copies it. Now I'm going to go to the other page and I'm going to select Command V and that's going to paste it. Now I don't need the number here because that was just for my own use on my paper. So paste on the context in which it is used in the poem, what does the word deferred mean? And I'm just going to put this in quotes. Okay. So now I have a question. And I added a picture of the poem because I want them to remember what it says, just in case they don't know how to navigate Google Classroom as well and they're new to it. They can see the poem right there. Okay. Now, is this a required question? Absolutely. They have to be able to answer this question. So I'm going to select required. Okay. Then I need to create options for an answer. So how am I going to do that? Well, this is actually an answer key. So how many points are we going to make this? Let's make it 10 points. Okay, 10 points. Add answer feedback. Now, is this a multiple choice question or is it a short response? We have to decide which one it's going to be. So it's going to be multiple choice, and we are going to add the options beneath it. So even though we uploaded a picture, once that's done, you can still decide what the answers are going to be. Is it going to be short answer, paragraph, multiple choice, checkboxes? I'm going to make it multiple choice. Based on the context, okay, so now we have the question. Now I'm going to go back to my answer key and I'm going to select the answers that I pre-prepared. So does it mean already occurred? Let's copy that, Command C. I'm going to paste it as the option, Command V. Then I'm going to add another option, switching back and forth to my pre-prepared answers. Command C. Then I'm going to paste it, postponed. Then I'm going to add the third option, never going to happen. Command C. And then I'm going to paste it, Command V. So now I have three options for the students to choose. Already occurred, postponed, never going to happen. Now that I have those options, I'm going to go to the answer key and I'm going to say which one of these is correct. Postponed. Okay, so that is going to be my correct answer. So I went to the answer key, I chose the correct answer, and now I select done. So when a student selects the correct answer, it will make sure that it tabulates to give them the 10 points that this question is worth. Now, I am going to add on another question. Okay, so this question is going to be, what are the two things that Langston Hughes compares to a dream deferred? So I'm going to Command C so that I can copy this question, and then Command V so I can paste it. Now, once again, this is a multiple choice question, so I'm going back and forth between the top screen, and I'm going to add multiple choice. So I'm going to have three options again. I'm going to go back to my answer key, rotten meat, and a sidewalk. Let's see, that's one option, Command C, and I'm pasting it, Command V. Then I'm going to go back and grab the other option, the sun and the outside sky, as the option, Command C, and then I'm going to paste it, Command V. And then the last option I'm going to select is the actual answer, a raisin and a sore. Command C, and then I'm going to paste it, Command V. So now our next step, we're going to first make it required because we want to make sure the students are actually answering questions that we want them to answer and not passing through them. Even if they select something that's wrong, we just want to make sure that they're trying to do the whole thing. Now we're going to go to the answer key and we're going to select the correct answer, a raisin and a soar. Those are two things that Langston Hughes compares to a dream deferred. And so now we're going to make this 10 points as well. And done. So now we have two multiple choice questions. Now let's just say we want to keep this as a separate section because we want to do a short response. Let's go back up here where it says name and class. We're going to select class, and then these options over here, you can either add a question, you can import questions, add title and description, add an image, add a video, or add a section. So we're going to add a section because this is going to be made multiple choice. And once you add a section, your choices change, right? So multiple choice, select the answer that best fits the question asked. Okay, so that's it. That's going to be our multiple choice section. Now, as you can see under class, now there's a after section 1, where do you go? Because you have a multiple choice section. Now, multiple choice is here, dream deferred, okay. Now we have our two multiple choice questions that we added so far. After this multiple choice question, we're going to add another section, which is going to be titled short response. Now, the description here is going to be use the acronym RAD to answer the following question. Okay, so this is a section. Let's just say you want to add more than one. So we'll say questions, okay? We're going to then add a question with the plus sign. And this time, we're not going to use multiple choice. We're going to use paragraph or short answer. Now, for most 7th graders, I would say you need to be able to write at least a paragraph for RAD. So, one of the questions that I had pre-prepared was, what year was the poem written? Now, the answer is 1951. However, they could explain a little bit more than that. So I'm going to copy the question with Command C, and then I'm going to paste the question on the page with Command V. What year was the poem written? And now I'm going to change it a little bit, and I'm going to say, and why was it such an important literary work? Okay, let's just say that's the question that you want to ask. You want students to use their prior knowledge, or maybe you're going to give them a link of something that they can watch to understand more about why this poem was so important. So they'll have those details. Either way, they're going to be able to give you an extended response, a short response about what year the poem was written and why it was such an important literary work. Okay? And then they'll be able to answer it. Now, the answer key is not going to be filled in because it's going to range. You're going to have to be the person to say whether or not this makes sense. And maybe we're going to give this 20 points. So total, the quiz would be worth 50 points. 10 points for each of the multiple choice questions, and then 20 points for the short response. Okay? So that's done. Now we're going to make sure that we make this required. And you can always add another question, another section, depending on what you want to include. All right, so that's a basic understanding. Now, you could also change this. You could make this go, let's just say some students, you don't want them to have to do the short response. You could always send them to another section and so on and so forth. But for the most part, they're going to continue to the next section, go to short response, and answer that question. Okay? Hope this was helpful. Now, when you're sending it out, you already are collecting email addresses. But let's just say you want to send it to them via email. You can type in whatever their name is, whatever their class is saved as, or you can select the link. So let's do that again. I'm going to send. I'm going to select send. And then I'm going to go to the little paperclip looking link over here. I'm going to shorten the URL because it's really long. And sometimes when you post for kids, you want it to be, something simple. Now, I'm going to select copy. So now it's copied to my clipboard. You see down there, it said copy to your clipboard. Then I'm going to close this out. And I'm going to go, let's say I go into my Google Classroom. And I go to my waffle. And I open it up. And I'm going to go to my Google Classroom. Wonderful. So now I have all my classes. And I'm going to go to 705 because I can post for 705. I can post for 706 all through this one. So now I'm on my stream and then I select classwork. I'm going to go to classwork. I'm going to create a quiz assignment. This is specific because I know it's going to be a quiz. Now, it automatically will create a quiz for you, a blank quiz, but I don't need that because we just created one. So I'm going to go to Add, Google Drive, and voila, my remote learning quiz is there. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to give them instructions. After reading the poem on day 3 of remote learning, you will complete the attached quiz, period. I'm going to title it Remote Learning Quiz 1. And then I'm going to decide who this is for. So I want to make it for both my classes, 705 and 706. Bam. And then it's going to be how many points? 40 points because we said it was 10 points for the 2 multiple choice and then 20 points for the short response. When is it going to be due? I'm going to select the due date of Thursday, March 26th at, let's say, 8 a.m. Okay? And then the topic is going to be remote learning. Now, just in case you haven't created a topic, you can always create a topic, but I already have one, so I'm going to use remote learning. That's just so everything can stay together. So once you have all of that, and let's just say you had a rubric, you could always add a rubric to it as well. We don't have one for this particular assignment, but you can always do it. Now, I don't want to post it yet because it's not happening, but normally you would just press assign. Now, because I selected 2 classes, I'm not going to be given the option to schedule it. Now, if I select 1 class, then I can say, okay, I'm going to schedule it for later. But because I selected 2, I would have to assign it right now. But I don't want to assign it right now. So I'm going to select Save Draft. And it's going to save for me. And now I can post it when I'm ready. And if I scroll down on my classwork page, I can see Remote Learning Quiz is saved for later. So all I have to do is click it and log in later, edit the assignment, and post it. All right. Hope that helps.